ninkii askariga ahaa ee magaalada Gaarisa ku toogtay allaha u naxariistay Adan Maxamed ayaa maxkamadda la horkeenay maanta taasoo ahayd dhageysigii koowaad ee maxkamadda. Qoyska ninkaasi lagu dilay magaalada Gaarisa ayaa maxkamadda ka codsaday in aan wax damiin ah lagu sii dayn askarigaasi. Qoyska ayaa sheegay in sii daynta damiinka ah ay cabsigelin ku abuuri karto markhaatiyaasha kiiskan. Waxay sidoo kale dalbadeen in baaritaan degdeg ah lagu sameeyo dhacdadaasi si cadaalad uu u helo allaha u naxariistay Adan Maxamed. dhacdadana ayaa dhalisay caro iyo walaac bulshada dhexdeeda ah iyadoo dad badan ay ku baaqeen in la xoojiyo isla xisaabtanka ciidamada ammaanka iyo ilaalinta xuquuqda shacabka. Kiiskan ayaa hadda ku jira gacanta maxkamadda waxaana la filayaa in go'aan laga gaaro codsiga qoyska ee ku saabsan damiinta uu dalbanayo askarigaasi.
Which involves the death of a civilian at the hands of a police officer. The key witnesses in this matter are likely to be members of the civilian's family, victim, and other civilians in Garissa who witnessed the incident. Your Honor, it is a submission that these witnesses are vulnerable. The investigation officer has declared in his affidavit that the accused person is not the witnesses in his official capacity as a police officer. The accused person holds a position of authority as a police officer, and that witnesses have expressed fear that the accused person may retaliate if released on bond/bail. Your Honor, we wish that this court takes judicial notice of police influence, and that even when charged, police officers retain influence within their communities of operations. Your Honor, the accused person had worked in Garissa for 7 years, and due to his position, he would know the potential witnesses and how to deal with them. Your Honor, it is a submission that our affidavit provides tangible facts about the accused person's position, his access to the witnesses, and community dynamics in this matter. Your Honor, furthermore, the accused person is a police officer with firearm training and access to weapons, which would put potential witnesses in danger. He also has the training and resources to abscond and evade arrest if he so wishes to do so, Your Honor. Your Honor, Article 49 of the Constitution provides that while the accused person may be released on bail bond, the right is not absolute if there are compelling reasons. And we submit that we have provided compelling reasons, Your Honor. The second compelling reason being the nature and seriousness of the offense that the accused person is facing, the severity of the sentence if convicted, and these are terms that have been set out in the bail and bond policy guidelines. Particularly at page 25 for consideration, Your Honor, before granting of bail bond. Your Honor, we invite this court to look at the case of Frederick Ole Leliman and 4 others. Nairobi criminal case number 57 of 2016. We have filed it in court as quoted in criminal case is 36 of 2023. High Court of... The first case is Republic versus Frederick Ole Leliman and 4 others. Nairobi criminal case number 57 of 2016, as quoted in the case that we have filed, criminal case number 36 of 2023, Republic versus Faith Nyabuti and Eric Nganga in the High Court of Nairobi, where the court held, and I quote, undermining the criminal justice system includes instances where there is a likelihood that witnesses may be interfered with or intimidated, the likelihood that accused may interfere with the evidence or may endanger individuals or the public at large, and the likelihood that the accused may commit other offenses. In that matter, the court, while weighing the bail application, found that there were compelling reasons to deny the accused person's bond. Then we also invite this court to look at High Court criminal case number 14 of 2020, Republic versus Ahmed Mohamed Omar and 6 others.
Is it 2020 or 2010?
Apologies, 14 of 2010, where the High Court, in considering a bail application, where the applicant was an administration police officer, held that the accused person, being a police officer, would have access to a gun if was released on bail pending trial, and it was of the considered view that his release would cause the civilian witnesses to be genuinely apprehensive of their safety. The apprehension is because the applicant already had not only the names of the potential witnesses, but also copies of the statements. We note that the court has already ordered the witness statements to be supplied to the accused person in this matter. Your Honor, the fourth case we invite this court to look at is criminal case number 23 of 2008 before the High Court of Kenya at Nairobi, Republic versus Joseph Wambua Mutunga and 3 others, where the court, while weighing the issue of witness interference, the court held that there is a real possibility of the accused person making contact with potential witnesses if they are granted bail, that could probably inflict genuine fear and anxiety in the potential prosecution witnesses, because the accused persons not only know their respective identities but also the nature of the evidence of which each witness is expected to tender to the trial court. The court also found that the severity of the sentences that they faced, which was death, was such that the accused person could probably not be sentenced to abscond. Your Honor, in this case, the accused person, being a police officer, is in a position to know the identity of the potential witnesses and the nature of the evidence that they are expected to tender in court. Your Honor, as we conclude, it is a submission that we have demonstrated compelling reasons to deny the accused person bond. The accused person is a police officer with real capacity and incentive to interfere with potential civilian witnesses. He is a flight risk, having absconded immediately after commission of the offense and deserted duty. And he also has the training and resources to evade arrest. Furthermore, the community has been hostile, as has been illustrated in the affidavit, and for the accused person's safety, we pray that this court has a duty to protect the accused person and deny him bond, Your Honor, until the determination of this case. That is all.
people here have to go for their prayers on Friday, so I'll just spend 5 minutes so that I can release some of them. Your Honor, for our clients, the victims, this is a very solemn occasion before you. And we've come to you, some of them who have traveled 400 kilometers, seeking substantive justice before you. Our clients have been through Makadara and law courts. They have come before you. And our client's position relating to the issue of bail, Your Honor, is not to admit the accused person to bail. The law is on your side on this one. Both the Constitution and Article 49(1)J, as well as the bail and bond conditions, and even the Criminal Procedure Code. Your Honor, our position is there is a compelling reason, a very compelling reason for you to deny bail. We know bail is a matter of right unless there's a compelling reason. The first, Your Honor, if any of the following 4 compelling reasons, one of them is proven, that gives you the right to deny bail. The first one is the seriousness of the offense and whether there is an incentive by the accused person to abscond. The accused has already, as you have been told by Mr. Atete, been on the run through the affidavit of Mr. Atete. Manslaughter is not a small assault matter. It is a very grave offense that actually has grave outcome if it is proven that the offense was committed. In fact, Your Honor, the authority before you by Justice Fred Ochieng, Republic versus Joseph Wambua Mutunga, which has been supplied to you, says as much. If you look at that authority, the court states whether to grant or deny a bail, the court considered the likelihood of the accused person absconding and the security of the witnesses. We submit before you that there is a likelihood of him absconding. In fact, there is an antecedent by the accused person. The second that you have to satisfy yourself, Your Honor, is the character, antecedents, and whether the accused person is a flight risk. The affidavit of Mr. Gatete bears that out. It is an established fact that the accused person was fugitive from the law for 15 days. That itself, and him being a police officer, highly trained in armory, highly trained in many other things, there is a likelihood that he will abscond if admitted to bail. The third one is the institutional influence and the likelihood of witness intimidation. The affidavit bears this out under paragraph 4.9 of the guidelines, your guidelines, Your Honor. It says if an accused person will intimidate witnesses, you will not admit him to bail. The accused person has been in Garissa for 7 days. Some of the witnesses, 7 years, sorry. Some of the witnesses, you have been informed, require psychosocial support and the investigations have not been concluded. If there was no clear-cut case, this is one of those ones, Your Honor. We submit that you will be able to satisfy yourself as to that ground too. Finally, Your Honor, the accused is a police officer. Police officers generally, and we want you to look at the case of Republic versus Ahmed Mohamed Omar, are protectors of the law. They are protectors of life. When police officers become takers of life, their bail admission, you must look at that threshold with enhanced scrutiny. Your Honor, in that matter, Republic versus Ahmed Mohamed Omar and 6 others, the court, after hearing both sides, was of the opinion that the applicant is an administrative police officer who will have access to a gun. Therefore, if he was released on bail pending trial, it held the considered view that his release will cause civilian witnesses to be genuinely apprehensive of their safety, including witnesses which have yet to be interviewed. Said apprehension was real because the applicant already has not only the names of the potential witnesses, which he will get through discovery and their statement, and the court was justified. That is a compelling reason. Your Honor, if any of those 4 reasons is true, then you must deny bail. Your Honor, denial of bail is not done lightly. We know that. It's a constitutional right. But for the integrity and looking at the character and the antecedent of the accused person, this is one of those cases that you should exercise. The family of the accused person are here, Your Honor. Mr. Ali Sheikh, the brother, the uncle is there, that old man who seated there. Most of the public that Mr. Kimuli is referring to is full in your court. They have traveled 400 kilometers and they want substantive justice from you. For someone who has been a fugitive from the law, he does not deserve your discretion. And to make sure that the judicial process takes its course, he should be incarcerated until the conclusion of this matter. The proportionality test under the Constitution, under 49, the balancing test, weighs in favor of denying bail. We salute.
In matters of this nature, we always begin by expressing our very sincere and solemn condolences to the family of those who are affected. Because a life was lost, and the circumstances of that loss are the ones that, Your Honor, some of the circumstances are under investigation before you. And there are other circumstances of that death that are not before you, and particularly, if you look at the document marked B2J, I think it's a report of the shooting incident which has been attached to the affidavit. The National Police Service gives clear particulars of the circumstances of that death, and one of the things you will know, Your Honor, the investigative agencies have come up with is that this incident happened at a time when the police officers were under attack by people armed with a rifle and sharp pangas. This is evidence presented before you. And the shooting happened in those circumstances. And my submission is that from that evidence, there is an aspect of the incident that may not be up for trial before you. Whether those people who had a rifle and pangas are culpable in law.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm not wishing to interject, but I wish for the court, because we may not have a chance to respond, to note that I had pointed to that being part of the evidence of interference that he would be charged on.
So that when you are told that somebody who was innocent was killed, that is a matter for trial, Your Honor. And the police themselves say the police were under attack. Now, Your Honor, when the prosecution tells you that there are other offenses to be preferred against this accused person, I urge you to reject that promise. They may never keep it. They haven't kept that promise from 21st of April. It's now 22nd of May. Why would there be an offense out there targeting the accused person which has not been preferred? So, Your Honor, you can't refer to an offense that you do not know. But more significantly, I agree with learned counsel for the victim, that everybody is here to look for justice. But may I suggest to you, Your Honor, that the justice of this cause is in the trial. it is not to be found in pretrial detention. And that has been the rule for a very long time. And the grace I have this day, Your Honor, is that I submit before a judicial officer of considerable experience that you have seen people charged before you and acquitted. And therefore, the accused person enjoys the benefit of the presumption of innocence under Article 50 of the Constitution. A pretrial detention without justifiable reason is one way of taking away that presumption of evidence, and the consequences may not be capable of remedy. Your Honor, we submit that no empirical evidence has been placed before you to justify denial of bond or bail. It has been admitted before you that this court is not the first point of contact between the accused person and the justice system. In fact, the investigating officer has conceded that the matters raised before you today were canvassed before your sister, Honorable Mbati, at Makadara. And you have not been told that there is anything news that has come up outside what was canvassed. And he has admitted that the accused person was admitted to bond elsewhere. And most significantly, Your Honor, the prosecution and the victim have made heavy weather of the fact that the accused person ran away from his place of work. May I say, without belaboring this point, Your Honor, that the officers who are alleged to have pursued, looked for, and tried to trace the accused person have not sworn an affidavit to tell you whether there was any such. The investigating officer working with IPOA relies on what he calls signals exchanged internally between the National Police Service. The National Police Service are separate from IPOA. They actually don't mix. They are like oil and water. And therefore, there is no collegiality in the sharing of information between IPOA and the National Police Service. And the officer who testified before you could not tell you, could not give you a chain of events that led him to gain access to what he calls our official police documents. And the police are not here to tell you these are their documents. So, Your Honor, I urge you to reject those documents as mere hearsay. And hearsay is not evidence. Your Honor, I urge you to find it curious that the investigating officer could not tell you how the accused person came to be in their custody. He told you he does not know. You know, I urge you, because you have one duty and privilege the rest of us do not have, the privilege and the prerogative to read the disposition of witnesses. I urge you to find that that officer was being less than candid in refusing to disclose how the accused person came to be in their custody. And I say so in submitting before you, Your Honor, that when the officer, if the officer cannot tell you how the accused person was arrested, then nothing dislodges our submission that the accused person surrendered himself to the police. Is there a public appraisal against the uprising against the accused person? The answer is no. We have no single affidavit from a member of the public who swears that should he come out, I will deal with him. The police have a duty to immediately arrest that person. That is their duty. And Your Honor, you cannot be asked to take judicial notice of matters that have been expressed to have been in the media. This is a court of evidence. This is a court of law. And you only deal with law and evidence as presented. And there is no evidence to suggest to you that the skirmishes that happened in Garissa were about the accused person. In fact, you have not been told that anybody went to his home. And therefore, there is nothing to establish before you that the Garissa, the Somali-Kamba war, as it has been called by politicians, was about the shooting and not about pasture or anything else. But more importantly, the witness you heard this morning, Your Honor, has confirmed that even while the accused person was still at his home, before he was arrested, the so-called skirmishes between the Somali and the Kamba dissipated. Is this a serious offense, Your Honor? This is manslaughter. And it is on the advice of the ODPP, presumably, that he be charged with manslaughter. And manslaughter is an offense that attracts a penalty between 1 day and life imprisonment. Our courts grant bail without discrimination for all offenses, including the offense of murder, the offense of robbery with violence, and the offense of attempted robbery with violence, and treason, which are capital offenses. The authorities granting bond in serious crimes attracting the death penalty are so many and so universal that we no longer quote them in court. The court knows them off the head. My colleague will take 2 minutes to reply to the two authorities that have been cited before you. But let me finish by telling you this, Your Honor. No evidence has been placed before you to suggest that the accused person will interfere with witnesses. In fact, no witnesses have sworn any affidavit. No witnesses have reported to the police. No witnesses have yet been disclosed to the accused person. None has been put under the witness protection framework. And nothing has been shown to empirically suggest that the accused person has gotten in touch with any witness or attempted to get in touch or even gone back to Garissa from the time this happened. So it is not a light submission, Your Honor, when you are told that the accused could interfere with witnesses. I urge you to reject that as unfounded fear. You are told that the accused person works in Garissa and is well known. No evidence has been placed before you to suggest that the accused person is known to anyone else other than himself and his immediate boss. A suggestion that he is generally known in Garissa is not something you would take, Your Honor. And more importantly, the fact that he has worked in Garissa for 7 years does not mean that he must work in Garissa tomorrow as a police officer. And the fact that he's a police officer who knows how to handle a gun does not mean that he will shoot somebody tomorrow. And when you are told he is of significant influence in the police service, I urge you to note, Your Honor, that the charge sheet itself identifies him as PC. PC is the junior most. He is of the junior most rank in the National Police Service. PC. The police call it Papa Charlie. Police constable. How does a police constable gain so much influence so as to be able to interfere with even fellow police officers? So I will urge you to reject the. I can just tell you from the bar that this person had been admitted to a bond of 700,000. I believe the prosecution is aware in Makadara, and we are ready to do that, and we are ready to do this trial. The accused person needs to be free to go back to work. The police will assign him where they want to assign him. So my colleague will address the authorities.
Yes, Your Honor. In addition to what my learned friend has said, that each case should be dealt with on its own unique facts. That the right to a fair trial means that each case will be dealt with on its own unique set of facts. That denial of bond and bail in another case does not automatically mean that the accused person should be denied bail or bond. Each case should be dealt with on its own facts. You know, the authorities relied upon by the prosecution and the victim's family. I will start with the Republic versus Faith in Nyambuti. That was a murder case. The accused person in that case was being tried for murder. Different set of facts. The accused persons in that case were arrested. The accused person was not arrested. He presented himself to the DCI. In that case, the accused persons were not gainfully employed. He is employed, Your Honor. The accused person is employed. In that case, again, the accused persons did not have a fixed place of abode. They did not have a fixed home. The evidence that has been found before you shows that the accused person has a known home, which is far from the scene of crime. The crime took place in Garissa. His home is in Kitui. A different set of facts. In that case, there was tension, public tension. In this case, Your Honor, and I respectfully submit that the tension that is being referred to in this case, and according to the evidence that has been found in this case, seems to be politically driven tension. We have only been told that MCS and the women representative of Garissa, no other witness has been brought here or other member of the public, saying that if you release the accused person, we are going to burn his house or something like that. That has not happened. The other case, Your Honor, is a case of Joseph Wambua Mutunga. Again, that case was about murder. So, in this case, it's a different set of facts again. And in conclusion, Your Honor, I submit on the issue of whether the accused person is a flight risk. It has been admitted by the state that the accused person was out for 15 days. If he wanted to run from the trial, he would have escaped the country, for example. When he heard this, he took himself to the DCI. That is not the conduct of a person who wants to abscond trial. Finally, Your Honor, I submit that the state must show that the accused person has real intention of absconding trial. There must be substantiation showing that this person is behaving to run away from justice. I submit that that evidence is missing from the conduct of the accused person. He has not been tried. Why would he run away? There is no evidence finding the accused person was subjected to orderly room proceeding, which now concluded that he deserted. The court will agree with us that an allegation of desertion does not now mean the accused person or the person being alleged to have deserted does not have a right of explanation. Was he sick, for example? Was he given oral permission to leave the police station? Those are facts that we don't know. We don't have evidence for that. So, Your Honor, in conclusion, I respectfully urge the court to allow the accused person to enjoy his constitutional right of release on bail, reasonable bail or bond. I propose that, Your Honor, police officers in this country are not really highly paid. And I propose that the accused person be released on a reasonable bond and bail term of 100,000 shillings. Everybody knows that our police officers are not adequately compensated, and Mr. Sumen will agree with me that that is the correct position. We do not want to subject a police officer to a very high bail bond terms that will be like punishment. And that is one of the cases they have relied on, that do not put bail so high that it appears to be punishing the accused person. That is all, Your Honor, with respect of
I don't agree with him. I'm not privy to the...
Yes, just briefly. Witnesses, the test has been set by precedent. And the test is not availing witnesses. The test is that the court, if the court finds there is a likelihood and a real possibility, that in itself is a compelling ground. And I believe, that we have well established. You have been told that the accused person was resurfaced after 15 days. Whether 15 or 1 year, such conduct is not one of a person who intended to present himself as required, because he ought to have surrendered himself at Balambala DCI. I will invite the court again to E036 of 2023, where the accused person, in that case, it was a similar circumstance. He went missing and then resurfaced, and the court denied bond. Being a high court matter, this is a high court decision, I pray for the court, to be persuaded by the said precedent. I also would wish to remind the court to come back, to the signal that was submitted by counsel, the one for, I believe that is B2, where it says that where it alleges, where there's as per the signal that the officers were being attacked. I wish to point to the court that when I was submitting initially, the signal has only been attached to show that the person who made the report was not the accused person. The content of the signal itself, is what we are saying is subject to a charge of interference with evidence. That which will prove during trial. And the fact that they are alluding that he will go back to work again gives strength, to the compelling ground in E number 14 of 2010, where he will again have access to firearm, which was a compelling ground that the court used to deny the accused person bond. The accused person was not expected. They're saying the accused person was home. He was not expected to be home. He was expected to have reported to DCI in Balambala to face the due process of the law. There's no political drive. The politicians, as representatives of the members of society, were there to calm the situation. 100,000 would be unreasonable, and noting that the severity of the charges that he's facing, will not apply. And I pray also for the court to consider, yes, the severity. Before, when he was in Makadara, he was a suspect. But now there is a guarantee. Once we prove our case, he's going to face between 20 to life. He has a lot to lose. And we're saying because he has a lot to lose, he's likely to interfere with witnesses and leave the jurisdiction of the court. And lastly, that he actually left the jurisdiction of his workplace and was rearrested in another jurisdiction. That will be all.
27?
Or the week after? 29th is Friday, 29th. It's okay.
That is we shall be celebrating a major national holiday on 1st of June. And I want to eat goat with him at home. 10 a.m.
si kastaba ha ahaatee qoyska marxuumka ayaa ku adkaysanaya in cadaaladda dhab ah la helo, iyagoo sheegay in aysan aqbali doonin in kiiska lagu dhameeyo si fudud. Bulshada deegaanka ayaa iyaguna indhaha ku haya sida ay maxkamaddu uga garnaqi doonto arrintan xasaasiga ah.